Hello there everyone, in today's video, this is one that I've been looking forward to a fair bit, we shall be talking about one of the most horrible, amazing characters in fighting game history, Honda Tadakatsu. Now then, a little bit of a fun fact, a little bit of a milestone. When it comes to the tier list, in the order that I've been doing these characters is up the tier list, we are now entering the top 5 territory. These are all the characters that are very good and meta-defining. With Tadakatsu admittedly being the worst out of all of them, but he's still very good. He's still very good. So, one thing about Tadakatsu is that his buttons are flipping gigantically. Look at 5A, 5B. Yeah. Oh, you're probably wondering what's going on back there. We'll talk about it at some point, but yeah, we'll get to it later. So yeah, here we have 5B, 5A. Yeah, all of his buttons are just really, really big. And despite being a big character, his mobility is actually not that bad. He has a very good air dash, like the best air dash in the game. And yeah, combined with his jump C, yeah, he's definitely good at controlling space, let me tell you. And let's talk about one of his more defining, his unique mechanic, the boost gauge. So, see this bar right here? This is a gauge unique to Tadakatsu. Now then, let me just put away my mouse over here. It slightly depletes whenever he does a dash or an air dash, and it also depletes when he does certain specials. Now then, let me just deplete it all the way here. Hey, quick kidnapping him. Trust me, we will talk about that after this. Anyway, yeah, once it's finally gone, it enters into a cooldown, that red bar, and then it slowly starts to fill back up. So yeah, he does have good mobility, but it does cost an extra resource. And another thing that you can do is that if it's completely full, you press both the light and medium buttons to do Yuasha! Yeah, that's right, a Hokuto no Ken style boost that isn't useful at all in the slightest and is actively detrimental to you because it makes your boost gauge recover for a long time and there's just no situation. So, it's kind of cool, but yeah, you're probably not going to do it. Anyway, let's talk about what's going on over here. So, here we have our reinforcements, Takagawa Ieyasu, and just FYI, this is back when he was a Goblin Man. This is before he was the cool boxer, Adult Ieyasu. Yeah, that makes more sense. So, every 20 seconds, ninjas will try to kidnap him. So there they are. They're underneath the ground doing that thing with the bamboo reed you see every now and then. And then they pop up and, bada bing, bada boom, they kidnap him. So, during this state, you cannot do your reinforcements, and you can't do anything. You can't even burst. And this can happen, and this always happens. Imagine, yeah, this really sucks if you're getting hit, and then in the middle of the opponent's combos, you're just prevented from bursting. Anyway, when this happens, you can hit the ninjas with certain normals to prevent Ieyasu from getting kidnapped. Yeah, if only this was adult Ieyasu, he probably would have beat the crap out of all of them. But yeah, you can hit them with the ninjas certain normals, and when you do hit the ninjas with certain normals, you can actually special cancel into it. Now then, let me just show you what happens if they succeed in kidnapping him. So yeah, look at that, there he is, he's getting kidnapped. Anyway, if this happens, yeah, come on now. Tadakatsu! Anyway, yeah, your boost gauge completely disappears and you become an absolute travesty of a character. You literally can't do anything. This is a situation you always, always, always want to try to avoid. Now then, this isn't permanent. He does come back after a while. It takes a while though, so let's just fast forward to that. Oh, yeah, there he is. Yeah, you basically want to prevent Ieyasu from getting kidnapped at all costs. Okay, now that we've gotten his two main mechanics out of the way, the boost and the kidnapping, let's go over his specials. So, 236A, well, 236X fires projectile, and the distance is determined by what button you press. These are some of the best projectiles in the game for a reason you'll soon see. And, let's see here. 623X also fires projectile with the button determining where it spawns, but this one's sort of different. So, whenever you hit the opponent with oh, we'll talk about that later. Anyway, whenever you hit the opponent with any of your 236X projectiles, they're on fire over there for a second. And while that happens, whenever they step onto these bombs, they detonate. So let's just oh, come on now. See, look at that, they detonated. But they do detonate automatically after a while. And you can hit them while they're here to make them explode. Another thing is that you can also hit your 236X projectiles. Come on now, let's just... trust me, you can hit them. Alright. Now then, let's talk about Ieyasu actually, because he's sort of special and he's involved in this next move. So let's just set everything to normal. So, fun fact: when Ieyasu arrives on the stage, Tadakatsu actually gets several passive benefits. For one thing, Tadakatsu's reinforcement is this level gain rate is the second highest in the game, so you can afford to wait until level 100, as opposed to majority of the cast who has to wait until level 50. And you can just wait until level 100. Let's just get him to that. So, when Ieyasu is on the field, your boost gauge recovers faster than if he was not there. So yeah, it recovers faster. That's one passive benefit. And when Ieyasu is also on the field, Tadakatsu gets access to some new special moves. So, when Tadakatsu's on the field, when Ieyasu's on the field, you get access to 214X. It spawns a magnetic mine, and the position again varies upon the button. And yeah, you can hit them around, and they're a very good move. Very good move. You can just use that as a shield, and if the opponent tries to hit you, yeah, they're going to get blown up. Okay, his next special move is 63214A/B. So what this does is that this gives Tadakatsu, sorry, I keep on getting the names mixed up, Tadakatsu guard point on most of his moves for a limited amount of time. The A version gives guard point against high and mid attacks, and the B version does the same for low attacks. So let's just have a Kenshin attack here. See, look at that. So yeah, sort of messed up there, but you get the idea. During the startup of a majority of your moves, you have guard point. Alright, his next move is 421A. This is a flight, like from Marvel vs. Capcom. Now, an interesting thing about flight is that you actually move around faster, and when Ieyasu is on the field. And you also get like more inertia. That's the thing about flight. It has a fair bit of inertia behind it, and this is increased once Ieyasu is on the field. Now let's talk about these these red things that you keep on seeing. So, when Ieyasu is on the field, Tadakatsu gets access to these reticles that appear around him during certain special moves, with flight being one of them. And depending on what level you call him, he'll have more or less reticles. This is at level 1. Level 2, he gets one behind him, and level 100 he gets one on top of him. Now then, what they do is that if the opponent is hit by any of these reticles, come on now, they'll be marked. And the next time that they're marked, the next time he does an attack, by the way, I'll show you later how to fire two of them. He fires out this homing missile right here, an enhanced version. Anyway, the thing is that what button determines which one fires the missile depends on what reticle the opponent was hit by. This frontmost one, right here, if they're hit by this one, then in order to do the homing missile attack, you have to do 236A. And if they're hit by the one on top here, they have Tadakatsu has to do 236C to do the missiles, and if they're hit by the one behind him, that's 236B for the missiles. Oh yeah, and the reticles can home in on the ninjas, and he can fire homing missiles on the ninjas to prevent Ieyasu from getting kidnapped. Oh, and by the way, all these projectiles, they all hit ninjas, as for most of his normals. And let's see here, what else? Oh yeah, his throw. So I forgot about that. So his throw is really, really good. The big deal with it is that you're able to combo after it. Let me just show you an example of me successfully doing that. So yeah, there you have it. That's me comboing after his top class throw. And by the way, pressing 22B in the air does this drill attack, useful for only really that combo there and nothing else. Anyway, let's just check here, see if I forgot a special move. Oh yeah, the reinforcements. So, not only does Tadakatsu get several passive benefits when Ieyasu is on the field, his reinforcement attack is very special and very good. So, let me just set this to normal. So, by pressing 5E, you summon these funnels around you. The next time you press 5E, for the cost of a little bit of reinforcement gauge, you fire out these lasers. Now then, this is the second best reinforcement attack in the game, period. It's very good, and it pretty much sort of justifies Ieyasu getting his ass kidnapped every couple of seconds. Yeah, this thing's really good. It's like useful for zoning, it's useful for pressure, it's just good for everything, good for everything. Yeah, imagine you flying around with this thing. Yeah, it's pretty scary, pretty scary. And let's talk about a special move that isn't exactly listed on his command list. So, automatically, after any of your projectile attacks, you know, 6236X, 623X, or 214X are during flight mode. Not during flight mode. You end up in this state automatically, which I like to call attack mode. Now then, during this state, your boost gauge does not go up, nor does it go down. Your walking speed is significantly faster. If you press 2-2, you automatically leave it. You can still block and everything. If you jump, you leave it. And if you do it in the air, it's sort of like a Peach sort of, Super Smash Bros. Peach sort of float. It looks sort of like this, and it also has inertia. It feels kind of weird. I don't know why he has this, but he does. Now then, is that truly everything? Okay then, let's go over his supers. So, yeah, this is going to be one of the longer videos. He's definitely one of the more complicated characters of the cast. So, 214C does this. It's pretty slow. It's +9. It does a very high amount of chip damage, as you can see here. And again, it's +9 on block. Anyway, after 214C, you can do 236C as a follow-up for more meter. And, you know what, let's talk about 236C. Anyway, 236C, it's this move. Here's what the reinforcement super looks like. And you can also do the reinforcement super after 214C, like this. Costs 3 whole bars of meters. Does pretty good damage, but let's just say that Tadakatsu has better ways to do damage for 2 bars a meter, but we'll get to that when we'll get to that. And a little bit of an interesting note here. So, if the opponent has a reticle on them, the boost is actually changed. You know, it becomes homing and it becomes a lot more faster. Again, still just as useless. However, if the opponent has a reticle on them, and if you're in attack mode, 236C super slightly changes, where you're able to follow up after them with a homing boost like that. You can't do that with the normal version. Yeah, pretty interesting. Again, completely useless, but still, very interesting. So yeah, that's all of Tadakatsu's moves here. As you can see here, pretty complicated and all that. He has a lot of gimmicks and tricks. However, what if I were to tell you that this is not the end of the video? Oh, far, far from it, buddy. Far, far from it. Because, let me tell you something about Tadakatsu. Let me just... Come on over. Tadakatsu has to be one of the most glitchy, buggy messes of a character that I have ever seen. My man has, like, 7 different glitches. A good chunk of them aren't even that useful. Well, he has 4 useful ones and some other ones which are just sort of meh. I mean, he can literally do this. What is that? This character was most likely the last in development. I refuse to believe anything else. Anyway, now we're on the second part of the video, where I should describe to you all of Tadakatsu's glitches and why he truly is one of the characters of all time. So, remember 63214A, you know, the move that gives him limited amount of guard point. What if I were to tell you that there's a way to make it permanent? So, Alright, so there we go. So, what I have just done is make his guard point permanent and even last between rounds. So, just gonna have Kenshin attacking right here, get rid of these ninjas. And if I do a normal, so yeah, it is there, it's just completely invisible and permanent. Yeah, this is what happens if I do again. See, notice how it vanishes right there. And he has like 4 different methods of doing this. I mean, he can cancel the startup with his reinforcements, summoning the funnels. Yeah, this is very good, as you would imagine. He can even like do it just in the middle of his combos. Like, oh yeah, now let's talk about his combos. So, see the flight right here, right? Yeah, pretty good. You could do all of your big old aerial attacks during it. Let me tell you something a little bit special. So, if during flight, and if you're on the ground, you have to be on the ground. If you press any of your attack buttons, and then during the hits up, input 236X, doesn't matter, you land on the ground very quickly. This is what we call flight land, and it leads to a very insane pressure like this. Yeah, he has just looping high-low mix-ups. Yeah, very good. He has some of the best rushdown in the game, in my opinion. And yeah, it's just very useful glitch. This is by far his most useful glitch. This is also used in his B&B. Let me just show you that pretty quick. So yeah, pretty respectable damage right there. And yeah, that's Flightland. Let's see here, what else? Alright, so after he does any of his projectile moves, you know, he enters into attack mode automatically, right? Now then, let me just set his boost gauge to normal. So whenever you do any of these projectile moves, you know, the 623A, the 214A, etc., etc., it costs boost gauge, but here's the thing. You can make it not. Yeah, you're just able to completely mitigate the cost of the boost gauge by pressing 2-2, no button, to immediately cancel out of the attack mode, and yeah, this also works if you do it in the air. But by the way, all of his projectile attacks are air-okay. And another thing that you can do with the 236X projectile specifically, none of the other ones, this does not work with the 214A or the 623A. So, if you after you do the projectile, if you press 2-2, same button that you used to do the projectile initially, so 236C, 22C, you not only make it cost no boost gauge, you also lessen the recovery and make it fire out twice. So yeah, this leads to a very good zoning. As you can see here, very hard for some characters to get past. You can throw in one of the 63X projectiles to make it even harder for the opponent to get on by. Yeah, very good zoning, very good zoning. And again, this is on the best character with the best rushdown in the game, who also has a infinite guard point if you know what you're doing. So yeah, that's that. Now then, let's talk about Tadakatsu's most bizarre move, and one of my favorite moves in all of fighting games. So, remember 236C, pretty standard super, you know, just does that. However, if you're in flight mode, and let me just set this to infinity. Oh yeah, flight mode does also cost boost gauge, so keep that in mind. Oh, and another thing I should mention. So, you can actually charge the 236X projectile, and when you charge it, even just like partially, you have a significantly less recovery. Now then, there isn't a way to make it cost no boost gauge like the normal version, so keep that in mind, but yeah, that's something to consider. Anyway, so 236C, right? Pretty normal move. However, if while in flight mode, and on the ground, you input 236C, you get a different version of the move. It goes full screen, it does more damage, and it has some strange properties involving guard break and the reinforcement super. So, let's just set him to block all. So, an interesting note about that version of 236C, by the way, that particular version, where you do it from flight mode, it's called the Hondam. So yeah, the thing about the Hondam is that if you guard break with it, it does significantly more damage, as you saw there. And another thing, it does even more damage. It also does more damage if you do the reinforcement super, but you have to make sure it whips. So yeah, as you saw there, also more damage. And these two sources of extra damage can stack. Let me just show you a particularly funny video. Okay, so here I am on the Dust Loop Wiki. This is a video clip that I uploaded to it. So here's a Takinaka Hanbei. Just as a reminder, he has the lowest health in the game. Here's his guard bar about to break. And let's see it. And yeah, he's almost dead. So yeah, the Hondam is a very silly move, which I love and adore dearly. But a little bit of a note here that you should keep in mind. In the arcade version specifically, if you win with this move, there's a good chance you can like crash the game, like crash the cabinet. And I imagine that'd be a real pain in the ass for the cabinet owner. So you should probably avoid doing this move in the arcade version, but in the console version, it's been fixed. So yeah, you could do it there. Now let's talk about one last glitch that's less useful but very funny. So during flight mode, see this jump B right here? You can actually car cancel it into a faultless. Come on now, a perfect defense. Alright, let's try this again. See, like that. Now this can cause some strange interactions. And as you can see here, you can fly into heaven while doing this. But this isn't that useful. You will run out if you run out of meter. You'll just return back to here. And if yeah, you can't really stop Iyasu from getting kidnapped, and when that happens, you're automatically taken out of flight mode if you're in it. And, oh yeah, another thing. If you do this while touching the ground, you end up in this weird sort of state where you're flying and also in the ground at the same time. For example, so as soon as I let go any directions, he immediately goes back to flying. Oops. And another thing, the next time he does 246C, it will be the Hondan version. See, normally that combo would be impossible, because I can't cancel 6B, that's what the move was, 6B into flight mode to then go into the Hondan. I could not do that, but while in this semi-flight grounded state, I can. And another thing, if you do your insta-kill while in this state, the victory animation does not play properly, and you end up in this here soft lock. Yeah, this character really is something. He really is. And, yeah, that's Honda Tadakatsu. Yeah, he's a very, very silly character, who I love dearly. And, yeah, that's about it, really. That's all I could think of. So, the next character I will be talking about is Chosokabe Motochika. Definitely, yeah, he's in the top 4. He's really good. Motochika is really good. See you next time.